Have you ever said something you wish you could take back, the kind of words that echo long after the moment is gone? In a world that glorifies noise, silence has become a forgotten art. The Stoics saw silence not as absence, but as presence, a quiet force that reshapes the moment. So, when is silence strength, and when does it speak louder than words? Stay for a moment and listen. As we step into the first chapter, picture this: you're standing in a room where your name is being dragged through careless mouths. A comment flies your way, sharp, unfair, and unearned. For a brief moment, you feel that old heat rising in your chest. Your pulse quickens, your tongue tightens with words begging to defend you. But this is the exact crossroad where most lose themselves. This is where the Stoic pauses. Because criticism, especially unfair criticism, is not a wound, it's a mirror. It shows you what still controls you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If something outside disturbs you, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment of it." He was right. It's not the insult that hurts. It's the meaning we give it. And meaning, my friend, is always within our control. Now imagine this. You've spent weeks leading a project at work. You've put your time, your care, your pride into it. Then your superior, perhaps driven by their own frustration, dismisses your effort in front of everyone. The first impulse? Defend, justify, prove your worth. But the Stoic impulse is different. You take a breath. You listen, not to the words, but to your reaction. You dissect the criticism calmly, like a surgeon removing poison without harming the flesh. You separate fact from noise, and in that space of silence, you find your freedom. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events, but from our judgments about them. So instead of asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" the Stoic asks, "What power am I giving away right now?" The answer is usually all of it, because anger, justification, defensiveness, they're just invitations to dance in someone else's chaos. And silence? Silence is the refusal to attend the performance. The quiet man or woman in the face of insult is not weak. They are strategic. When you stay composed under fire, you communicate something unspoken. You cannot be moved by noise. You shift the entire energy of the moment. The one who attacked you feels it. The crowd senses it. You reclaim the room without raising your voice. This is power refined through restraint. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That is the essence of Stoic silence. You do not explain your virtue, you live it. You do not debate your worth, you demonstrate it through conduct. When you choose calm over confrontation, you turn the potential for conflict into a monument of self-mastery. Silence confuses those who expect outrage. When you give them nothing, they face the emptiness of their own noise. That's when silence becomes a blade, sharp and invisible. It cuts without cruelty. Still, silence is not escape, it's selection. It's choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It's the discipline to listen first, to yourself, to reason, to time, because time always reveals truth more elegantly than arguments ever will. So when someone throws unfair words your way, step back, let them echo and fade, then return to your work. Let your results speak. Let your actions stand taller than explanations. In the end, criticism will follow anyone who dares to stand out. It's the tax of living with purpose. But each insult, each misunderstanding, each unfair judgment is a test. A silent classroom where composure is the lesson. When you meet that test with calm, you become the teacher. you remind the world that dignity does not shout. So the next time they challenge your worth, don't rush to defend it. Remember, truth needs no witness, and character needs no approval. The Stoic doesn't win by argument. He wins by remaining unshaken. And that's the first silence, the kind that turns conflict into composure, noise into wisdom, and criticism into a quiet proof of your strength. From here, we move to another kind of silence, one that appears in moments of pride and boasting when restraint becomes the rarest form of confidence. Moving into the second chapter, picture this. You're standing in a crowded room, the air thick with conversation and hidden competition. Someone nearby begins to boast about their new car, their promotion, their rising status. Their words fill the space like perfume that's too strong, leaving no air for sincerity. You smile, polite and composed, but deep down there's a flicker of temptation to prove yourself, to speak your own victories aloud. It's human. But the Stoic within you knows better, because this is the moment that reveals whether your confidence is borrowed or built. When surrounded by noise, silence becomes a rare luxury, and the wise know how to use it. The Stoics understood that comparison is the thief of peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know the truth." And the truth is, this your worth does not grow louder when you speak of it. It strengthens in quiet persistence. Imagine this small scene. At a networking event, a colleague brags about their salary and success. You could match their energy, throw your own achievements into the fire. You could turn the evening into an invisible contest of egos. But instead, you nod, listen, and let them speak. You do not challenge, you do not mirror, you stand calmly in your own certainty. That composure, that quiet, unsettles them more than any story could, because silence has weight, and only the self-assured can carry it well. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." That is the essence of Stoic restraint. You do not need to outshine others with words. Your actions, your discipline, your serenity, those are the proof of your depth. Let others chase applause. You chase alignment. While they spend their energy trying to be seen, you conserve yours to build something real. There is a beauty in the man or woman who lets others boast without needing to respond. It's the beauty of someone who has already won a quieter war, the war against insecurity, the one who knows that validation from others is nothing but a gust of wind, loud for a moment, gone the next. Your silence says, "I have nothing to prove," and that statement carries more force than any victory speech. Seneca once warned, "It is better to conquer our tongue than to conquer a city." Because the greatest victory is mastery over impulse, the need to react, to defend, to be admired. Every time you choose silence over self-promotion, you polish the mirror of your character. You create space for grace, for dignity, for the calm strength that cannot be faked. So the next time you find yourself surrounded by those who measure life in trophies and titles, stay grounded. Let their noise pass through you like wind through leaves. Listen, observe, and keep your stillness, because stillness is not weakness, it's strategy. It's knowing that your peace is worth more than their applause. Remember, the world doesn't need more people who talk about their greatness. It needs more who quietly live it. Let your silence become your statement. Let your presence do what your words never could. And as we leave this lesson behind, carry this truth with you. Silence is not emptiness, it is elegance. It is the sound of strength without the need for display. From here, we move deeper into a more turbulent storm. the silence we must hold when anger comes knocking. Advancing to the third chapter, picture a storm, wild, loud, relentless. The sky cracks open, the air trembles, and you can feel the pull to fight against it. That's what anger feels like inside the human heart. It arrives fast, takes control, and before you know it, reason is gone. But in that storm, Stoicism offers shelter, a pause so silent it can change everything. Anger promises power, but it steals clarity. You've felt it before, maybe at work, when a careless mistake from someone else doubled your load. Or in a conversation, when a single word lit a fire in your chest. The instinct is to lash out, to make them feel what you feel. Yet that's the moment when silence becomes your weapon. Because in that pause, something happens. The world slows, your thoughts return, and you begin to see what's really worth your energy. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you choose silence, you reclaim control over that reaction. You separate yourself from the emotion long enough to see its roots. You stop being dragged by the current and begin steering the ship. The Stoics didn't deny anger, they mastered it. They saw it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Every surge of rage reveals where you're still unfree. Think of Marcus Aurelius, he warned. How much worse are the consequences of anger than the things that caused it? He understood that most damage doesn't come from what provokes us, it comes from what we do next. You can destroy years of trust in a single outburst. You can say what cannot be unsaid. But you can also choose silence, and that silence can rebuild what words would have shattered. Nelson Mandela once endured 27 years of imprisonment and walked out without bitterness. His strength was not in shouting, but in the power to remain calm when the world gave him every reason to break. That is the same strength Stoicism asks of us, not to suppress emotion, but to transform it into understanding. When you feel anger rise, breathe. Don't run from it. Observe it as if you were watching smoke rise from a fire. Ask yourself, what truly hurts here? Is it pride, fear, expectation? Once you name it, you can choose not to be owned by it. Seneca said, "No man is angry who feels that he has been wronged by chance and not by design." Perspective dissolves rage faster than time ever could. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means refusing to let another person's chaos shape your own. It's the calm before a wiser decision, not the weakness of avoidance. When you answer anger with stillness, you turn heat into light. You give yourself space to act with intention instead of instinct. So when the storm comes again, and it will, remember this: anyone can shout. Few can stay silent. The one who stays silent owns the storm. And from that calm, every other kind of power begins. Now let's move forward to a different kind of silence, the one we must hold not against anger, but against false words and whispers that threaten our peace. Entering the fourth chapter, imagine standing in a hall of echoes, every whisper bouncing back until it becomes a roar. Whispers swirl around you, twisting into stories you never told, shaping truths you never lived. You can feel them brushing against your reputation, cutting softly but persistently, and every instinct inside you wants to scream back, to correct, to explain, to fight for what's right. But the Stoic knows that sometimes silence speaks clearer than defense ever could. When rumors rise, reason fades. People don't want the truth, they want entertainment. And once words leave your mouth in panic or anger, they become kindling for the fire. So what do you do when the crowd misjudges you? You stand still. You let time and truth do what noise never will. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The moment you stop chasing every false echo, you reclaim your peace." There's an old story about a teacher in a small town. One day, she was accused of something she never did. The rumors spread fast, whispered from porch to porch, until her name carried shadows instead of respect. Friends turned distant, students looked away. Yet she never defended herself publicly. She greeted everyone as she always did, with calm and kindness. Weeks passed. No proof ever surfaced. The whispers grew tired. The truth, as it always does, came quietly back to her side. Her silence had said everything. That kind of restraint is not weakness, it's wisdom. Seneca once warned, "He who listens to slander shares in the slanderer's guilt." When you refuse to engage, you cut the chain of deceit. When you stay composed, you force lies to collapse under their own weight. Because rumors, like dust, settle only when there's no wind to lift them. Epictetus even advised, "If someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself, but compliment them instead." It sounds impossible, doesn't it? Yet that's the essence of mastery, to rise above the trivial with grace. When you meet venom with composure, it loses its poison. The one who expected your outrage is left with confusion, because peace is the one answer they cannot argue with. So, when false words circle your name, remember this: you are not what they say, you are what you continue to do. Let your integrity become your statement. Let your patience be your proof. There is power in restraint, a quiet courage that turns slander into silence and silence into strength. Hold that calm, and you'll see, the truth doesn't need a voice. It only needs time. And from here, we step into a deeper silence, the kind born not from falsehood but from grief, the silence we face when life takes from us something we love. At this stage, the world has gone quiet. The kind of silence that follows after loss, a silence that feels almost physical, heavy, pressing against the chest. You wake up, and for a moment, you forget. Then memory returns, and it's like the air itself has changed. The Stoics understood this space, the hollow between what was and what remains. They didn't run from it, they entered it, slowly, courageously. Because silence after loss is not emptiness, it is transformation. Grief visits us all. A loved one passes, a dream collapses, a door closes before you're ready to walk away. The heart, once full, feels like a room stripped bare. You search for meaning in the echoes. And this is where Stoicism offers its quiet hand, not to erase the pain, but to teach you how to hold it without being consumed by it. Seneca once wrote, "The day which we fear as our last is but the birthday of eternity." To the Stoic, death and loss are not interruptions in the flow of life, they are part of it. Imagine holding sand in your hands. No matter how tightly you grip, it slips through. The Stoic learns not to curse the loss, but to open the hand and watch with peace. You can fight the waves, or you can stand still and feel their rhythm. That is the essence of Stoic acceptance. We cannot control the sea, we can only control our stance upon its shore. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is where strength begins, not in resistance, but in surrender to what is natural. There's a story of a man who lost his wife after many years of companionship. For months, he spoke to no one. He didn't bury himself in distraction or noise. He walked, he wrote. He sat in silence, facing his pain as though it were a teacher. Over time, the silence softened. It became a space for reflection, for gratitude, for remembering love without being crushed by it. His grief did not vanish. It matured. That is what Stoic stillness can do. It turns pain into wisdom. The Stoics teach us to feel deeply, but not to drown. Cry if you must. Sit with your sorrow. Let it wash through you, but do not build your home in it. Write, reflect, speak to those who understand. Then, when you're ready, shift your gaze toward what remains. Gratitude doesn't erase grief. It balances it. Each breath you take after loss is proof that life still asks something of you. That too is love continuing its course in another form. So when the silence feels unbearable, remember this: it's not punishment, it's preparation. Life takes and life gives, in rhythms we cannot always see. And through every ending something endures. The strength of your heart, the lessons of impermanence, the quiet dignity of acceptance. Hold your silence not as despair, but as devotion to what was and to what can still be. Because even in the stillness of loss, life continues to whisper. Endings are only changes in shape, not in truth. From here, we move toward another trial of the spirit, the silence we must keep, not in sorrow, but in the face of ignorance. Moving into the 6th chapter, imagine standing before a crowd that refuses to listen. You speak truth, yet their eyes stay blank, their minds sealed shut. You could argue, you could shout, but deep down you know it would be like teaching the wind to change its direction. This is where Stoic grace begins, not in proving others wrong, but in mastering your own peace while surrounded by ignorance. Ignorance isn't just the lack of knowledge, it's the arrogance that believes it already knows everything. You'll meet people like this in every walk of life. They interrupt, correct, and declare themselves wise, yet their words expose their blindness. When that happens, remember Marcus Aurelius's reminder: you have power over your mind, not outside events. That truth alone separates the wise from the restless. The Stoic does not waste his serenity trying to convert the closed-minded. He simply observes, understands, and remains unmoved. There's an old story about a man named Galileo who dared to say that the earth moved around the sun. The world mocked him, the authorities silenced him, and he was placed under house arrest. But he never shouted back. He didn't write angry letters or curse the world's blindness. He kept his focus on the truth. His silence was not surrender, it was strength. He knew that time, not argument, would prove him right. That kind of composure is the mark of wisdom. The truth doesn't need your anger to defend it. It stands firm on its own. Seneca once said, "Ignorance is the cause of fear." People lash out at what they don't understand. They cling to old ideas because truth feels like fire. It burns before it warms. So when you meet the stubborn and the proud, show them what they can't grasp through words. You're calm. Nothing disarms ignorance faster than quiet confidence. Nothing teaches better than example. You cannot teach someone who refuses to learn, but you can refuse to let their blindness infect your sight. That is Stoic grace. It's the decision to pick your battles wisely, to understand that not every disagreement deserves your energy, and not every argument needs your presence. Silence in these moments becomes elegance. It is not withdrawal. It is wisdom choosing where to stand. When faced with foolishness, stay steady. Smile if you must. Say less, and let your actions speak the language that ignorance cannot understand. Because patience is not weakness, it's the proof that you value peace more than pride. So the next time someone's words drip with arrogance, don't let them shake you. Look at them the way a mountain looks at the wind, unbothered, immovable, eternal. And from this stillness, we journey next into a deeper test of composure, the kind that comes when your name becomes a rumor and your silence must defend your truth. Now imagine this. You start hearing your own name echoing through hallways, wrapped in words you never spoke, attached to stories you never lived. At first, you laugh it off. Then you hear it again from a friend's lips, from a stranger's tone. It spreads like smoke, shapeless, restless, feeding on every breath that carries it. That's what rumors do. And this is where Stoicism meets you, in the quiet between your impulse to fight and your choice to rise. Rumors test more than reputation. They test your self-control. When lies circle you, your instincts scream to defend yourself, to explain, to set the record straight. But Marcus Aurelius offered a different kind of defense. The best revenge is to be unlike him who hurt you. The Stoic doesn't wrestle in the mud. They let their actions become their answer. Time has a quiet loyalty. It always brings truth back into the light. There was once a woman, a community leader, who dedicated her life to protecting the land she loved. One day, whispers began that her cause was a disguise, that she was gaining from the very things she opposed. Her integrity was questioned, her name dragged through rumor's dust. But she didn't speak. She didn't argue. She kept working. Her silence was not surrender. It was faith in time and truth. And slowly, the lies starved. Because when there's no reaction, there's no fuel. Epictetus said, "If someone speaks ill of you, and it's true, mend yourself. If it's false, laugh at it." This is the art of inner calm. To remain so grounded in your own virtue that the wind of opinion cannot move you. To understand that people's words say more about them than they ever will about you. Stoic silence doesn't deny injustice, it transcends it. When rumors rise, pause. Take a breath before you speak. Let the first emotion pass, because it's rarely the wisest one. Ask yourself, will words help here, or will they only scatter more dust into the air? Most of the time, silence will do what arguments cannot. It will let others see your consistency, your integrity, your steadiness. Over time, even the doubters learn. Lies fade when truth keeps walking. Seneca once reminded his students that a good character, once established, cannot be shaken by falsehood. That's the heart of this lesson. The more you live in alignment with your principles, the less power gossip holds over you. You become untouchable, not because people stop talking, but because their words no longer decide your worth. So the next time someone invents a story about you, don't waste your peace trying to rewrite it. Let your life tell the real one. Let your silence build a reputation stronger than any rumor. Because when the world talks and you stay steady, the truth eventually speaks, and it speaks in your voice. From here, we step into a different battlefield, the silence required not against words, but against injustice itself, where calm becomes the sharpest form of strength. From here, picture a moment when life turns against you, when the scales tip unfairly, when justice seems blind, and you stand alone, watching wrongness walk free. That sting in your chest, that tightening in your jaw, it's not just anger, it's disbelief. You know the world should be better. But the Stoic knows something deeper. Fairness is not guaranteed, yet your response to unfairness defines your soul. Injustice is one of life's oldest teachers. It strips away illusions, forcing us to see what truly lies within us. Will we become bitter? Or will we choose calm strength over rage? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." To the Stoic, Injustice is not a cue for vengeance. It's an opportunity to rise above what's base and to prove what cannot be corrupted. Think of the man who spent years imprisoned unjustly and emerged without hatred. He could have cursed his captors, but instead he walked out carrying peace in his heart. That is Stoic resilience. His silence was not weakness, it was power under control. Because the moment you let anger dictate your actions, the injustice wins twice, once in deed and again in your reaction. But when you meet cruelty with composure, the balance begins to shift. Epictetus taught, bear and forbear. Endure what you must and refrain from returning harm for harm. That doesn't mean you accept injustice. It means you approach it strategically. You respond not from emotion, but from principle. A Stoic doesn't lash out blindly. He acts with precision. He seeks justice through clarity, not chaos. When wronged, pause before speaking. Breathe before striking. Ask yourself, will this action heal or deepen the wound? Because silence, when chosen with wisdom, is not surrender, it's preparation. It creates space to act effectively, to think clearly, to preserve your dignity while the world loses its temper. Seneca reminded us, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. Injustice, painful as it is, becomes that proving ground. It's the forge where character hardens and virtue glows. The world may strip you of comfort, but it can never strip your integrity unless you hand it over willingly. So when faced with unfairness, big or small, stand firm. Keep your peace inside. Do what is right quietly, consistently, and without bitterness. You may not control outcomes, but you will always control your honor. Because true justice begins not in courts or crowds, but in the quiet mind of the person who refuses to let hatred rule. And as we move forward, remember this silence is not the end of resistance. It is the beginning of mastery, the art of winning without war and healing without hate. Entering the 9th chapter, picture a moment that burns quietly, the sting of an insult, sharp and sudden, aimed to pierce your calm. Maybe it's a mocking comment from someone who envies you. Maybe it's a cruel joke disguised as humor. You feel it in your chest before your mind can even form words. Your instincts want to fight back. But this is where the Stoic path begins, not with retaliation, but with restraint. Epictetus once said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. It's a reminder that no one truly insults you without your permission. Their words might be arrows, but it's your reaction that lets them wound you. The Stoic learns not to block every arrow with anger, but to become so steady that they simply fall at his feet. That stillness, hard, unshakable, is not weakness, it's command. Now imagine walking through a marketplace. A stranger mocks you, testing your patience, seeking a rise. The crowd watches. Do you answer? Or do you walk on, letting your silence expose his smallness? Because the moment you argue with a fool, the world stops seeing the difference between you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, how much worse are the consequences of anger than the things that caused it? Most people destroy their peace, not because of the insult itself, but because they carry it home, replay it, feed it. The Stoic lets it die in the air where it was spoken. There's power in that kind of silence, a power that unsettles the one who expected chaos. When you don't give them your outrage, they're forced to sit with their own noise. That's the quiet victory. The one who stays calm owns the moment, and everyone watching can feel it. History gives us countless examples of this strength. One man faced humiliation, imprisonment, and physical attack for standing up to oppression, yet he refused to meet cruelty with cruelty. His silence became a mirror, showing the world the contrast between dignity and hatred. That's the Stoic way. The louder the insult, the quieter the wise become, because silence exposes truth faster than words ever could. Seneca reminded us, "He who is angry at the things which he cannot help is foolish." Think about that the next time someone tries to provoke you. Their insult is not about you, it's a confession of their own unrest. People insult from emptiness, not from strength. And if you respond with calm, you reveal that their chaos cannot touch your center. That's what Stoicism trains you to master, not others, but yourself. Still, silence does not mean suppression. You don't swallow your pain and pretend you're unaffected. You acknowledge it, then release it. Like waves hitting a rock, you let them break, but you remain unmoved. Every insult becomes an exercise in fortitude. Every moment of restraint refines your discipline. You start realizing that peace is not found in winning arguments, but in mastering your reactions. So when someone insults you, pause, breathe once, twice, 3 times. Look at them as you would a child throwing stones into the sea, wasting energy, unaware that the sea does not mind. Ask yourself, why should their noise disturb my silence? Then carry on with the grace of someone who refuses to kneel before pettiness, because strength is not proven by shouting, it's proven by the calm you maintain when provoked. Let others fight over words. You stay composed. Let your silence become your armor, your dignity, your proof that you are governed not by emotion, but by reason. And if you must respond, do it with gentleness. A simple nod, a smile, or better yet, nothing at all. For the Stoic knows the most piercing reply is peace. In the end, insults reveal more about the one who speaks them than the one they're aimed at. So hold your silence, guard your inner fortress. Let your restraint echo louder than any insult ever could. And as we close this reflection, remember the wise do not rise to every battle. They rise above it. That is the Stoic's highest art, not silence itself, but the soul that no insult can disturb. Silence is not emptiness. It is the presence of strength, wisdom, and choice. Through these 9 moments, we've seen how quiet can protect our peace, deepen our understanding, and turn conflict into clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, don't waste time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. And sometimes being one begins with knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. In a world that rewards noise, your calm becomes your power. When you choose silence over reaction, you lead yourself and others toward stillness. You remind the world that strength doesn't need to shout. So take these lessons with you. Use them in your next conversation, your next disagreement, your next test of patience. Let your silence reveal who you truly are. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to reflect. Leave your thoughts below, just 2 or 3 words that capture what silence means to you. And if you want to keep growing through these lessons of Stoic wisdom, subscribe and stay on this path with us. The next reflection will take you even deeper into the discipline of calm, where silence is not only peace, but power in motion. Until then, stay still. Stay grounded and remember that quiet minds move the world.